Hi, I'm Diana.
And I'm Vicki.
And we're the Cooking Cronies.
Get started. Here's what you're going to need. First of all, you're going to need your baking dish, and I'm using a little bit bigger. I don't know exactly what size. This is probably maybe a 15 by, I don't know, but use a 13 by 11 normally pan, and this is a little bit bigger though. I've made these so many times, I really don't think it matters that much. All right, I'm also using some super moist German chocolate Betty Crocker cake mix. I have some just some Duncan Hines creamy chocolate, and I'd use the dark chocolate fudge. I've also used the milk chocolate though. You can do that as well. You're only going to need a little bit of this, maybe half. So, but whatever brand is your favorite. But I either use dark chocolate or milk chocolate. I've got evaporated milk. I have 2 sticks of butter. These are half a cup, so a total of 1 cup of butter. So now you know why it tastes so good. I have 1 egg. And I have a bag of the Kraft caramels. And you do want the kind that you just open up. Now you can use those bags of little caramel beads that are in the baking section, but I tell you, they're not as good. I recommend these, an 11-ounce bag, which is what I use all the time, 11-ounce bag. You can also add nuts if you want. I don't, but you can do a half a cup of chopped nuts if you want. This is my messy recipe. If you want to use that, but I'm not going to do that. So let me just get started. First, I'm going to grease my pan. So the recommended dish size would be 13 by 9, but I know this is a little bigger than that, and I'm fine with that. This is the pan I use all the time, but my mother-in-law always said a 13 by 9. All right, my butter is really, really melty. I'm using some soft butter to grease this. My hands are going to be very messy, sorry, and I put it in a paper towel, and I just do that. Put a little bit on there and just grease it with my paper towel. Just an old trick. This is how I've always greased my pans. Okay, that is a well-greased pan. All right, now I'm going to preheat my oven to 350. Okay, now we're going to take the cake mix and dump it in a bowl. We're going to add our 1/2 cup of softened butter, and this is very soft, as you can see. You do not want it melted, just softened. Let me get my egg. I'm just going to go ahead and stir this up. Beat it. I guess that's the right technology, the right term. Beat the egg. And we're just wanting this to be crumbly. That's all. So we don't want it to be completely mixed. So then I'm going to go ahead and add my butter. Yep, just like this. And this again is just softened butter. It is not melted. If you get it melted, it's going to be too runny. So you just want to, now you're going to have to work this with a fork for a little bit to get it to the right the right texture. Now we want to reserve 1.5 cups of this mixture. So I'm just going to measure out 1.5 cups. Because we're going to use part of this for the crust, and we're going to use the other part for a topping, for like a crumbly topping. So you can see it's still kind of powdery, but you can also see how it's just sort of crumbly. Or as Winnie the Pooh would say, crumbly wumbly or something like that. That's how I always think of it, crumbly wumbly. But yeah, it's about, that might be a little more than 1.5 cups. So just measure out 1.5 cups. Okay. Now the rest of this, I'll show you what we're going to do with. We're going to put this onto the side, or off to the side. I'm going to get my greased pan, and we're just going to throw all of this right here into the pan. Now, if for some reason that's not enough, we can grab a little more from our reserved batch. Sometimes I end up doing that, but you can kind of see where I'm going with this, and I'm going to use my hands. And I do get a little bit of the butter on my hands here. It's a little messy, guys, okay? But mark my word, it is so worth it. I'm going to end up adding a little more to this just to make sure that it sticks. It gets the whole bottom covered. It will kind of rise up when it cooks. Now I'm just going to put this in the oven for 10 minutes. Next, you're going to get your burner on, just put this on low for now. We're just going to melt our butter. It's a half a cup of butter. I'm going to add a half a cup of evaporated milk. And now I'm going to open up every single one of these caramels and put them in here. You can see that that is melting now. The butter's almost completely melted. I am going to go and turn the heat up a little bit. You can go ahead and not even start heating this oven up until you, or the burner up, until you get all of this, the candies open. But I'm pretty fast at it, and this is just how I do it. So it works out really well. By the time I get all of the candies opened, my butter's already melted almost. There's a little bit left in there, so. Right, so I'm just going to put this on a medium kind of heat and watch it really close. All right, so this is going to melt. In the meantime, my brownies, my timer just went off and it's been 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get my brownies out of the oven, my crust. Right, you can see how nice and bubbly that is. It's kind of puffed up. That's our crust. Now I'm going to set it over here to cool. And we are going to let the oven, we're going to leave the oven on because this is going to go back in the oven in a minute after I get this all melted. All right, that's melting nicely. Now I do have my heat up on medium, and so I really do want to watch this close. Now comes the fun part. We're just going to pour this right over the top of this crust. It's been sitting here. Now I didn't let it cool completely. I never do. And I just go ahead and pour this right on. Now you can see some of those big pieces of caramel that are in there, but it's okay. It's going to go in the oven and those will melt. Just going to make sure this is smoothed out. Next, we're going to take this reserved crumbly mixture. We're just going to sprinkle it right here on top of the caramel. And I don't swirl this or anything. I just put it right on top. This is exactly how my mother-in-law made it, and this is how my husband remembers it from his childhood. This is his favorite dessert, favorite brownie. So now we're going to put that back in the oven at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. After you take the brownies out of the oven, you let them cool completely. And then just take a little bit of your chocolate frosting, a couple spoonfuls, add some water, and mix it together just enough to make a glaze. That's what you're wanting to do. So just a couple tablespoons of frosting with about the same amount of water until you get the consistency of a paste that you can just drizzle right over the top. And just spread it out evenly and let this cool, and it's even better if you refrigerate it and then cut it into bars and enjoy.
Hope you enjoyed this recipe. We enjoyed sharing it with you.
Give us a thumbs up before you go and leave us a comment, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.